Hey guys, Dr. Bertie Salcedo here, and today we're going to be doing an interesting review that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and now seems like the perfect time as we're getting into the new year. People will have new fitness and health goals, and so a lot of times you want to be able to track those. And two, I think, of the most popular ones that are out there are the Oura Ring and the Whoop strap. So today we're going to be talking about what are the similarities between the two, and also what are the differences, pros, cons, and help you make the best decision. And you'll see at the end of the video which one I recommend for certain people. So let's get into it. And I'll be essentially ranking these in three categories. One's going to be how do they fit / look. Two, the functionality, how do they work and what do they work best for. And then three, the platforms or the apps that you're going to be using to integrate and get your data from these devices. So let's talk about some of the similarities between these two devices. The main one is they both measure the same thing. They measure HRV, they measure sleep, and they measure activity. They just call them different things in their apps. They both can be worn all day and have a pretty long battery life. They're both very easy to use and easily integrate with your smart devices and smartphones. All right, so let's talk about some of the differences. Now, let me first start by saying I have extensive use with both of these. So it's not like I picked both of them up, I used them for a couple days, and then now I'm doing a review. I've used both of them for several months at a time, so I have a lot of experience with both of these. So this will bring us to a little bit of a brief overview of each one of these devices, and we're gonna start with the Oura Ring. So obviously the Oura Ring is just a little tiny ring like this, slips right on the finger, and when you get it in the mail, it'll actually give you a little sizing chart and you can figure out which ring works best. Now on the bottom of the ring here is where all the measuring is. It's very comfortable as well. Now, for me personally, when I was using this when I was a chiropractor, I'd constantly have to take it off because I'd feel like if my hands got really swollen, I just hated the feeling of the ring compressing my finger. But it really is a pretty good fit. You just want to make sure as you're going through the sizing, you're picking a finger that's going to be stable and the ring size seems to fit well. Because obviously you don't have half sizes, you just have your regular sizes moving up. So you're going to want to pick a finger that's not going to get in the way, but also is going to be very comfortable for you to use throughout the day, because that's going to allow you to use it more often. They also have a wide variety of different colors, so you can pick and choose. I think they have 3 or 4 different ones. Now I just got the gunmetal look here. Looks very nice, very easy to use. It is a little bit thicker, obviously, so if you're thinking it's going to be like a regular ring, it's just a tiny bit thicker, so you're going to notice it just a little bit more, but after about a day or two of using it, you kind of lose track of it. So now let's talk about the Whoop strap. So the Whoop strap, I've beaten this thing up for sure. I've used it a lot. And for a while, this was one that I preferred just because it was easy to clasp on your wrist. So you basically just put it like this. And then there's like a little latch here and you just clamp it on like that. Pretty simple to use. Nice thing is it's a lot more snug against your skin. So I think that gives you a little bit better data because it doesn't move around as much as the ring does. And there's a wide variety of different colors and color combinations that you can use for each one of these. And you can see on the very bottom here is where you're getting all your data right underneath there. Some people prefer the fit of the Whoop better than the ring. It just depends on what you like best. And we'll talk more about that in just a little bit here. Now, the one issue I did have with the Whoop, and I've noticed a couple other people mention the same thing, is the clasp, it's very snug. So once it gets put on, the band's elastic, so it's gonna stay snug to your skin. The one issue I did have though, oftentimes was once you latch it, you can notice I'm not even latching it right now because a problem that I was having is it's super hard sometimes to pry off, to open it. So once this thing's closed, it's pretty snug. It's not gonna go anywhere. And a lot of times, you know, if I was pretty sore that day or something like that, I would have to actually like pry it open with something. Otherwise, I'd have to try to get my nails under there to pry it open. It just gets a little tough sometimes. That's the only real issue that I had with it. So just on look and feel, I would say it just depends on what do you like better. Do you like wearing a ring, or would you rather wear something like, you know, a little wrist wrap like this? Some people don't like using the wrist wrap because they'd rather wear a watch. So if you're more businessy, you might prefer the Oura Ring, or if you're more athletic, you don't really care so much for watches, you might want something like this. So let's talk about functionality between the two. So I have to be honest with this, I've used both of these extensively. I tend to think that the Whoop works a little bit better in terms of collecting data, partly because it's so snug against your skin, it doesn't move. So once it's on, it's collecting pretty accurate data as you go through. The problem that I had with the Oura Ring, especially for somebody who's active like myself, that I really prefer the Whoop for, is the Whoop I could use with my activities. It wouldn't, you know, interfere with like a barbell or dumbbells or things like that. So that was really easy to use. Whereas the Oura Ring, the problem with the Oura Ring is when you put it on, it can spin. So once it spins, you start losing data. So in the beginning, I would find in the middle of the night, sometimes if I was moving around a little bit, I would actually have gaps in my data because the ring would lose, it would lose contact, it would move around. And so I was missing data. The other thing that I didn't like about it is that I couldn't really work out with it. So if I wanted to do any sort of barbell work or dumbbells, this isn't comfortable to wear while working out because it's not silicone or anything, so you really feel it. And I was kind of worried I was going to break it if I was getting under a heavy barbell or something. So a lot of times I couldn't use it to track my activity. So even though it can track activity, I think really the only activity you can really measure is things like cardio, which is easy to do. You just wear it. But in terms of everything else, you can't really measure with it. So in that sense, I got to give more of the props to Whoop because it's much more for the functional, everyday person. Now, the only thing on the Whoop is it's not the most cosmetic looking. So if you want to wear a watch, sometimes that means you're wearing, 2 bands, and a lot of people don't like that. So I think cosmetically, I think the Oura Ring works a lot better and it's much easier to use. It's less noticeable, draws less attention. So in my opinion, this probably works more for a business setting or just everyday setting. So most of the time lately, I'm wearing the Oura Ring. And if I'm doing a lot of working out, then I'm using the Whoop strap. So let's talk about the apps for each one of these. Now, the only thing you're gonna have to get used to, depending on which one you're using, is just the names that they use. So they measure all the same things, but the only difference is for the Whoop strap, their HRV is measured as their recovery, and for Oura Ring, they measure theirs as their readiness score. And they just get measured differently, so you just gotta get used to how they measure each one of those. But it's very simple and easy to use. Both of them have good apps, I would say. I think I get a little bit more data and more benefit from the Oura app, personally. I don't think there's anything wrong with the app that Whoop uses. I just think functionally I get more out of the Oura app. It just gives me a little bit more data than the Whoop strap does, but also I think both of these are used very differently. So I think the people who these are both a good fit for will find that the apps are actually perfect for what you need, which leads me to kind of the overall summary of all this, which really is both these are great products, right? You can't go wrong with either one of these products. It just depends on what's your daily life look like. And if you're using this to measure activity levels and you're using this to measure sleep and recovery, HRV, and all these very important health markers, a lot of it just depends on what kind of activity are you going to be doing on a daily basis. If you're doing things like CrossFit or a lot of, barbell, dumbbells, probably the Oura Ring's not going to be a good fit for you because honestly, you can't really use it with those. So it just becomes cumbersome and then you find you're actually not getting all the data you want. So in that sense, I would say a Whoop strap's probably better for somebody who lives a very active lifestyle. Now, I personally love the Whoop for tracking that kind of data. I think it's more accurate. I think because it's so flush with the skin, I'm getting better quality data. It tracks my heart rate a little bit better and activity levels. So for me, I personally like the Whoop strap a little bit better in that sense. But lately I've been using the Oura a little bit more because I've been doing more cardio and it still works in that sense. So I think if you're somebody that's not doing necessarily a ton of dumbbells or, CrossFit, things like that, you're probably going to be doing just fine with the Oura Ring. And so with the Oura Ring, you can just slide it right on and it's a great everyday wear. And so for me, I just kind of lose track of it throughout the day. And so it just becomes something that's very easy to use. Whereas the Whoop strap, it's always there. I kind of always notice it's there. So lately I've been wearing the Oura Ring more, but I've done both. So sometimes it just depends on what I'm feeling. So hopefully you found that little review helpful. This is just to help you kind of break down each one of these and see which one's a better fit for you. If you felt that this was useful, I'll include links down below that will give you some discount codes. Those are affiliate links that help support the channel. But if you found this video useful, feel free to use those links below to purchase those down below. And hopefully that was helpful in making your decision. I look forward to doing more videos for you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.